Everyone's talking about how AI is going to automate 90% of the workforce. And while this may be true in some respect, I think there's this fundamental belief that everyone has that that is inherently a bad thing. And I want to flip the script here and share that there's potentially another side to the story. One that if 90% of the entry level jobs are being automated, what does that mean for us as, you know, workers? What it means is that now we have more time to focus on other things, right? And survival is absolutely a core issue for the vast majority of those people. But what if this can be the catalyst where we now find other ways to survive, right? We find other ways to use these AI tools that are automating the work that we used to do to now amplify the work that we truly want to do, which is that which is most meaningful, that which is most creative. Specifically, when I film this YouTube channel, this is probably the sixth YouTube channel that I have created. I've quit 5 times, and a lot of the reason that I quit was because the admin stuff was just, it just took too much time and it was too boring, right? Editing the podcast clips and coming up with the titles and creating the thumbnails, all of that was just like really boring to me, and it eventually there was so much friction that I stopped. Now this channel is the one channel where I don't actually feel that friction. Every single aspect of this process, from the description to the titles to the thumbnails, this is all handled by AI. And so now I have the freedom and the spaciousness in my experience to actually enjoy creating videos and focus more on the actual videos and the ideas and the structure of the videos rather than, you know, all the admin stuff that comes after filming it. So there's this fundamental fear that the vast majority of the population has, or at least the people I've talked to, that AI is going to eliminate all of our jobs, and it's just going to replace us, and this is going to be a really bad thing. But what if we flip the script and, you know, maybe it eliminating 80%, 5% of the jobs is actually a good thing, because all of those jobs that it's eliminating are just robotic jobs where you're just following SOPs and you're just clicking buttons, and there's not actually that much creativity or meaningfulness in it because these are the entry level jobs. And so that means that rather than someone coming into the workforce and starting at these entry level jobs and working with their way up to management or director level or C suite, what if rather than more and more people kind of being funneled into corporations, more and more people are being funneled into one person businesses, because now AI can do all the things that a business needs, so therefore a business needs less people to run, which means essentially that rather than there being like a few mega businesses that employ, you know, half of the population, now there's much more smaller businesses, because I can, like, someone like me can just film videos and, do build agents for customers on a one-to-one basis, and I'm transacting directly with the businesses themselves rather than having to go work for a corporation to go and learn how to build AI agents, and to, I'm just starting from the ground up, and I'm running this one person business because I understand how to use agents. I think that is the more beautiful future that we can focus on. And so personally, I built AI systems to automate content, sales, etc., where before there was so many roadblocks and friction points that stopped me from actually starting a business, or actually rather like making it successful. There's just too much of this admin work that I had to do, and it just wasn't both fulfilling or sustainable. But now that AI has gotten to the place where it's starting to automate jobs, I'm noticing that as I start offering my services to business and building agents for different businesses, the vast majority of the work is actually being automated, and so it's just way more fulfilling, right? I've automated an entire social media department at one company, and then in another company, I've also like augmented their current social media team with better AI systems. And for another one, I'm automating their sales department with various agents that are doing the vast majority of the admin, SDR, BDR type work. And this isn't to say that it's going to automate everything, but it's making it so that a lot of the entry level roles, which were just like data management and sorting through prospect lists and kind of like being trained by the more senior people, those are gone. And so anyone that's entering the workforce now has to go directly to the like more higher level skills. And so it's like, how do I think about and craft a strategy of a marketing campaign? How do I create these agents that are going to be trained on our data sets? And it's like, rather than me going and learning the skill of copywriting, now I'm going to learn the skill of AI agent building, which is trained on copywriting techniques, so I don't actually have to go and do the in-depth work of copywriting or sales prospecting, etc. I'm just learning how to build the agents to do those things, right? And so this, I really believe, is the key turning point in our workforce. Whereas before, we're trapped in these cubicles where we're just focused on the production and the delivery and the data and the standard operating procedures. And now it's like, no, we actually need the key skill that we need to learn is how do we build agents and how do we materialize various different strategies and visions. So this not only increases the rate of output, but it also is a forcing function to ensure that we're focusing on the high level strategic aspects of a business rather than the mundane, operations day to day of an entry level worker, right? So, when I started out 5, 6, 7 years ago, I was writing ebooks, I was writing articles, I was, filming videos, I was doing all this stuff. But there was so many different aspects of complexity and admin stuff with this content I was trying to create that, if I wanted to create content on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram, and it just took way too much time that I always failed at it. And now I'm focusing only on YouTube. I'm literally only focusing my time on YouTube. And then I'm having systems go and repurpose that content for LinkedIn or for Twitter or for Instagram or, short form videos or whatever it is, right? And like I'm having 3 short form videos go out on YouTube per day, but it's taking me literally 0 minutes per week. It's all either delegated or automated. So the idea is that as AI gets better at handling distribution, we're going to see the rise of one-person businesses. We're going to see that more and more people will start developing these frameworks and these models for how to actually operate a one-person business. And as we get better at that, as we learn how to operate these one-person businesses, then we're going to see less and less people trying to go the route into the workforce of starting with entry-level jobs and working their way up, but rather starting at the high-level thinking and the strategy and working their way down into the agents, into the materializing that thing. So it's more of a, top down versus bottom up approach. And so when all the mechanical tasks are automated, our creative capacity becomes the thing that we focus on, which means that we live more fulfilling lives. We have greater meaning in life. Because we're doing more deep thinking, we're trying to use AI to recognize patterns, to do creative thinking, to find novel connections. And the thing that's most fulfilling for the vast majority of people is figuring out what inspires them and how do they, do some sort of creative process around that, whether it's writing on LinkedIn, creating YouTube videos, creating art, writing newsletters, whatever it is, creating Instagram reels, right? It doesn't matter what the system is or like what it is you're trying to be creative with. It's the process of creativity and creation and birthing new ideas out of yourself that becomes most important. And so I've talked about this a couple times in this video already, but I just want to hit this home. Whereas our role becomes perspective and idea synthesis and understanding the script, etc. AI handles post-production, design work, distribution, all the things that are, in my opinion, extremely boring. And so this is what I like to call the freedom formula, right? So how do we actually get freedom in life? Well, it's a very simple formula actually. So the more value, the amount of value that you add determines your livelihood. So if AI can augment all of the admin stuff and you can focus all of your time on how do you create value, how to create offers, how do you take all the ideas in your head and package them in a way that is valuable to people and sharing your story and sharing the lessons that you've learned, right? Then life becomes just this endless cascade of lessons and insights, right? Because, the way that you develop is you do something difficult, you learn the lessons from it, and then you integrate those lessons into your way of being in the world. And the freedom formula is that you turn that into the creative process, right? You build automations to handle and agents to handle all of the admin work. You focus on the creative process and the value that you're adding to people. The value that you're adding to people is a result of the lessons that you're learning and your ability to rapidly learn those lessons, integrate them, and understand why, like understand the why behind them, and then communicate them to others. That's really what you're watching right now. This entire presentation that you're watching is the lessons that I've learned in my own process of understanding what is right relationship with AI. How do I best relate and use these tools to feel greater degrees of freedom and meaning and effectiveness, and so the more that I do this, the more opportunities will come your way. And so it's not like you the goal isn't to go out and use AI to try to get in front of people, hey, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. The goal is, how can I use AI to 100x the creative value of my work, right? And so if I can add 100 times more value, then opportunities will just show up. I probably had 15 calls with people that want to work with me in the past month just from YouTube alone. People will find my website in the description and they book a call, and we talk about different agents or projects that I can build for them. But it's not because in these videos, I mean, in some of the videos I do make an ask, but I find that the majority of the time people just find it no matter what. I'm not saying work with me, work with me, work with me. I'm saying here's what I'm learning, here's what I'm building, here's why this is valuable, here's the lessons I'm learning. And then people that resonate with that, there's people like, oh yeah, that's something I like is really insightful. They will feel that positive association with my work and they'll book a call, but it's not because they asked them to. It's because they got creative value from these videos, right? And so the core focus is how to use AI to add as much creative value as humanly possible onto the internet. So we can think of it like this. Again, this is just a different way of understanding the same thing. The more you automate things, the more time that you have for creative pursuits, the more time you invest in creative pursuits, the more value you give others. And the more value you give others, the more doors that opens for you in your life. And the more doors that opens, the better you get at all of these things. And so ideally, you can think of step 2 and 3 as a sort of reciprocal feedback mechanism, where the more creative you are, the more value you give, and the more value you give, the more you learn how to better be creative and give value in the future, right? And you refine what it is. You refine your understanding of what that value is and why that's valuable. Like you can think of it like this. I started this YouTube channel. At the beginning, it's just let me do as many reps as possible and let me do as many things as I humanly can, right? And so in this sense, I'm just like spraying and praying. I'm just like, let me just create as many videos on as many different topics. I'm gonna do tutorials. I'm gonna talk about trends and new releases, and I'm gonna do philosophy. And then I see what sticks, and people book calls with me, and I have conversations with people. And in doing that, I realize, oh, this specific thing I said really landed with a lot of people, or this specific way of, there's this one idea and I packaged it in 4 different ways, but this one way of packaging it really landed with people, and the others was a little bit too complex or ambiguous and hard to understand, right? But it gets refined over time. And so there's a couple different ways that this can create opportunities, right? I can share with you a couple of different categories or types of opportunities that have been generated from me going through this creative process. One has been people want to work with me and collaborate on YouTube videos and pay me for those collaborations. That's one of them. Or they want me to do workshops to their communities and they want me to express these ideas to their own private communities. The other is people want to help me design and manage their AI system. So this is probably the biggest one, where people are like, hey, can you build this agent for me? Hey, I have this idea of a team of AI agents that I want to build. Can you do this for me? And so they want me to be the orchestrator of their AI systems, because it is still fairly complex. So it's not that easy to implement. I mean, a lot of people don't have the time to learn how to build agents. They're focusing on their own mission and vision in business. And so if my mission is to build agents and theirs is to do something else, they hire me to build agents for them, or they hire me to go speak to their community. And all these are just a direct result of this life force energy that I have that is being directed towards articulating and talking about AI in a way that's being reflected back to me, right? So I truly believe that the future is human. AI will eliminate tasks. It will, make businesses easier to run, and it will allow humans to do the things that we've always wanted to do, but never had the luxury of doing, which is the creative, meaningful work. And so now, if I were you, the biggest bet that I'm making on the next 10 years is that focusing on adding as much creative value as possible is going to be the thing that is going to build leverage and help you win, right? It's it's a creativity multiplier, and our lives will get infinitely more enjoyable when we're spending our time focusing on that creative value that we have to offer the world, and then we're consistently focusing on building up a team of agents to do all the rest. So I hope you found this video valuable. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I hope you feel inspired and are ready to go add creative value to the world.